What's up, boys and girls? Welcome to another episode of Odd Topics. I'm your host, Anthony Nunez, and once again, I am joined with my co-host, Chris, down on his luck Trejo.
Yeah, I like that one, down on his luck. That's a good
And
one.
today, our dearest guest is my best friend from high school, Ryan, the Darkness Littman. It's good to have you, Ryan. I'm glad you made it on the show.
Happy to be here.
Welcome on.
So, Ryan is my best friend. He disappeared. Completely unforgivable. He disappeared for a year. And we're like, I need to hire a private investigator, find this guy. He was in SeaWorld. And it's funny, I always made jokes. I'm like, he's probably at SeaWorld. And that's where he's probably working. And he called me. He called me out of the blue, out of nowhere one day. He's like, hey, yeah, I'm working at SeaWorld. I'm like, why the... I fucking knew it.
It's a cool place to work. It's a cool place to work.
Irony.
So let's jump right into it. So for Odd Topics, I'm going to start... Or do you want to start, Chris?
Go ahead and start.
All right, I'm going to go with... My topic today is plastic surgery. How do you feel about it? Yay or nay? Is a little bit okay? Is there a limit or none or all? How do you guys feel on it?
I think it's everybody's choice to do whatever you want to do with your body through anything. It's whatever. I think you need to understand what can go wrong with it. There's botched plastic surgery. Tara Reid.
Oh, yeah, botched.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. There you go. This is a perfect example of it. And yeah, it's your decision, but just make sure you investigate everything and don't put... Yeah, it's everybody's decision.
Me, I believe freedom of choice too. But at the same time, I guess personally, I was gonna say it doesn't seem like really worth that kind of. I wouldn't put my money on it. I wouldn't spend that much money, invest that much on it. I'll just accept how I would. Yeah.
See, with me, I think it's okay. It's like to take stuff out. I'm not sure how I feel about putting stuff in.
Yeah.
Because I would love to get some fucking lipo on me.
Yeah.
Need to get that. 'Cause crunches ain't enough, man, and I don't have the willpower to go to the gym every
I
night.
thought you were saying, I wish I could have a pair of titties to squeeze, but
See, now,
I'm glad you didn't do that.
No, because what was another? I've never actually got to play with fake tits, so I don't know if I'm a fan or not. So for now, I'm gonna say I'm not a fan of them because who knows? Like I think
On that topic, I thought you did.
no, never have.
How?
I never.
You've been to a
At
titty
the
bar.
strip club, I thought you did. At the
Yeah,
strip
but
club.
you can't. Well, all right. I don't know.
You're going to the wrong strip
Yeah,
club.
exactly. I'm not going to the place where I can just like, hey, do you mind if I squeeze this?
Well, no, you don't say it like that. You get in a dance and you're just like, hey, look at that. Honk,
Well,
honk.
the point is, the opportunity to squeeze a stripper's fake titties has not come up to me in my life yet. It hasn't come up yet. So for now, I'm gonna say no dice because I don't know. I think I like the real thing more. Because there's girls that have like those bowling balls, and I'm like, ugh,
It
kinda
looks like
gross.
a pair. You can see the implant through the booze.
Yeah,
rather
I
go
don't like
all
that.
natural. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if they're, mosquito bites, whatever.
Nah. In that case, I think maybe a small B will be okay. It's okay, sweetheart.
Yeah, I gotta have something at least to play with in my hand.
Yeah.
See, actually,
Something in my hands.
before I got into my line of work, I actually did want to be a plastic surgeon.
Yeah, that
I was-
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, like, have you ever seen the show Nip Tuck?
No, I remember seeing.
Watch that show.
commercials.
It's so good. Nothing but sex. I'm not sure if there's a plot, but it's pretty good. But they're plastic surgeons, and they're always catching tail. I'm like, you always see like their dysfunctional relationships.
Now catching tail with their patients that they're about to get
Yes,
plastic surgery
everyone. Their maids, their fucking babysitters, their
I'll give you a
clients.
to.
discount.
So is this a low key porno show? Or
It was on
this
FX.
Okay.
It's from, what was it? Did you hear about, I never watched it. Did you ever watch American Horror Story?
I
Ever heard of the show?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I have not got around.
I haven't watched it, heard of it, but it was like the oddest mashup. I remember when they were advertising it, when that show was going to start, like, from the creators of Nick Tuck and Glee comes American Horror Story. Like, that's a really interesting combo. I'm like, because I just described the show. They just get tail all the time.
It's going from
And
one-
Glee. I'm like, okay, all right, so this will be very interesting.
Must take place in high school or something.
Going from one extreme to the other.
Yeah, right?
A little bit. Yeah, I
Watch
can
that
do
show. It's a good show. So I think probably after watching that show, I'm like, I need to become a plastic surgeon. So I when I was going to school, I was like, I got to do this, and then life happened, and I had to get a job, and now I'm doing this. But if I did, I'd love to do plastic surgery. And I know people and it's very misleading. People think of cosmetic when they hear plastic surgery, but plastic surgery also entails reconstructive surgery. So a burn victim or someone who's in a terrible accident, that's someone you could help out with their self-esteem, make them look a little better. So, or the children who are born with birth defects. That's the kind of stuff I would like to get into. But also the cosmetic stuff. Hell yeah, I'm gonna put some fake titties in someone because that's where the money is at. So. Plastic surgery, I'd say, I guess it depends. Like, if you need reconstructive surgery, yes, take it, absolutely. You shouldn't feel bad about it. But I think people shouldn't get hung up on their looks and try to make themselves better. But if you want to get some lipo, just taking shit out, you're not putting anything in, that sounds nice. I think everyone should be open for lipo. It's totally cool. And if someone says you're lazy and you don't want to work out, tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, which brings me what I was going to follow up on about that, what I saw on True Life. Guy that was so obsessed with plastic surgery, which is kind of what made me have some negative views on it. But he literally wanted to be a live Ken doll, and
that's weird.
Was obsessed with it. Like he had bicep implants.
Oh god, that's gross.
Implants, abs, like everything. I forget how much he spent. I think he spent almost close to $1 million.
Plastic surgery ain't cheap.
It's not. And like if they didn't do what he wanted him to do, what he wanted, he would go and find another one and keep doing it until he did. He implants on everything. His abs were fake, his pecs, his neck, obviously his face. And if you look at this guy, just look him up. Just say a real life Ken doll, look him up, and he is.
I'll do that right now.
It's very.
There are people who get too much done and they look like fucking aliens. Like they don't look like they were natively born on planet Earth. They look out of this world.
He didn't look normal. He didn't look natural at all. There was not a natural thing on him, probably but his eyeballs. I'm not kidding. And makes me think if you're going to that extent, there must be something wrong with him mentally. Because when we watched, because it was a documentary on him, and there must have been something. He was obsessively insecure about how he looked, and that's where I kind of think that's where I kind of have negative views on plastic surgery.
Is this him? Is that him?
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
That was weird.
No, like here, hold on. Let me go back to it. Holy shit! Like I can't tell if that's a real fucking doll.
No, he's real.
Look, no, tell me this picture. Is that a real life-size doll? That might be a life-size. I don't know. I really don't know. Like,
it's impressive. I'll give it that.
That's weird.
It's very impressive, but no, he's real.
And it looks like I'm watching a fucking episode of House of Wax. Like here, like that's probably the real face, Ryan said.
Or like when you go to Hollywood.
That's pretty awful.
Yeah, going to Hollywood and what is that place called?
Well,
the Walk of Fame. I've never been in that wax.
The House of Wax.
Is that what it's called? The House of Wax with the celebrities?
Is that him too?
Yeah, that's him.
That looks like early on. His face doesn't look fucked up yet.
Yeah, he has a more natural look in his eyes right now.
Yeah, sorry for our viewers who are just listening. Like, look this guy. Oh my god. Yeah, look this guy
just
up.
Look up real life Ken doll.
Real life Ken doll. God damn. Yeah, like that's definitely more work later on.
Ouch.
Let me see.
Unfortunate for the people who are only listening and just using their imagination. But this guy looks pretty interesting. Looks like he was not born on this. Oh my god. Yeah, please look him up. This is crazy. Trejo, would you ever get that much surgery done?
No.
I don't think I would. I don't think I'd ever want. As a man, you shouldn't get implants. I think.
Mike, curiosity.
No pec implants, no bicep implants, no ass implants.
How do you make a living with the living standard that he wanted, on top of making those expenses to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's taking it too far.
Selfish as fuck.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it should ever change. I don't know if he has kids or something. I don't think it should ever change your lifestyle. It should never change, your family's lifestyle, anything like that. That was pretty awful.
It's disturbing.
And I hope that he looks at it now and he's just like, wow, that was not a good choice. That was truly just a bad choice of things to do.
It's like, my God, what have I done? What is,
Just imagine when he gets old.
That's what I was about to say.
Everything's just gonna sag.
I was thinking that just
Why
now.
are your cheeks and your chin?
That was another thing people always say, because I love tattoos. Ryan's got tattoos. You don't have any, do you?
I do.
You do?
Yeah.
I know I always get it a lot whenever I get a new one. I'm like, what are you going to do when you look old? I'm like, I don't really care. But
I don't care now. Why would I care
exactly. Then? And but in this, so I never say that when someone comes and says, I want to get a tattoo. But this guy, I never thought I'd say this. What are you going to do when you're old?
That's pretty awful. Because he did all that for looks.
Yeah.
And it's just that's not, in 5 years, that's not going to pan out to what you think it was. Because eventually that shit's just going to, it's going to sag, yeah. And seriously, his cheekbones are going to be in his asshole. It's not going to be good for him. It's not going to be good for anybody that's around him.
Or if he gains weight, that's another.
Yeah.
If he can gain weight, that's another thing to consider.
And what about when they do that implant? Does it go into the muscle to build the muscle, or is it on top of it?
It's on top of the muscle.
So if he decided he's going to go be an athlete or something later on, how's that going to work? He's just going to be one weird-looking motherfucker.
You'd have to get him removed because I think similar issues happen when mothers who have implants have to get them removed because they can't breastfeed. Yeah. And that shit's got to go somewhere.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's basically blocking your muscles, and I don't know how. It's just right underneath your skin. And it's possible. What if like you said, they're freaking implants, so they can shift. I saw I guess there was a picture. Somebody showed me a girl who got an ass implant, and her ass implant on her butt cheek was flipped over because it's flat on one side.
Did she sit on it wrong or something?
Oh yeah, no, it was a video. It showed it. No, she wasn't sitting, and it showed her.
Moved it, or?
She flipped it back around to how it was supposed to be.
Oh, that's gross.
Yeah.
That seemed like it would hurt too. I don't know. I don't have ass implants.
It looked disgusting and looked painful.
I don't like anything going near my ass though.
Well,
it's a win-win for me.
We've talked about this. I have a defense mechanism. Yeah. You go by my ass, I'll shit on you.
I've had a bad experience.
You're like the octopus of real life.
I am. If I get scared, I ink.
Yeah, right. I'm very sensitive about that. This girl in college kind of fucking freaked me out.
Oh, so you guys all hear that? Yeah. One girl in college fucked up his ass. So now none of you get to see his ass.
Oh.
Yeah.
Burn.
Did you try to tongue punch you?
No, finger.
Oh my god!
Get that away from there.
We'll save that for another episode.
Okay, we'll save those topics. Yeah, because I got questions for that.
Okay.
But,
all right, so let's change.
That's gonna be an episode just on its own.
Yeah, probably. Let's change gears, Ryan. What is your topic?
Yeah, my topic was about a show. Of course, I just finished watching and just want to hear opinions about it. Was Dexter? Of course, everybody has talked about it before I finished the series. Everyone said the first 4 episodes were great. Then,
you mean first 4 seasons?
The first 4 seasons were great, and then it started going downhill. I just finished watching the whole series. Everyone said it was terrible at the end of 8th season, but my opinion on it was different. But I won't spoil that because you're about to finish that.
Yeah,
season.
I'm 8 episodes into the last season.
Yeah, but just from what I've seen about it, it's very captivating. First season, and comparing it to the books. Season 1 is the only season out of the whole series that's based off the books, off the first book. If you look at the other books, none of them is based off of that show at all. But getting into the actual show about it too, I was just impressed with his character as well. I mean, if for those who don't know about the show, it's obviously Dexter's a serial killer, is what he says. He's also a forensic scientist.
And he kills other serial killers.
Other serial killers with a very, very rigid, strict code that he was taught by his stepdad, that he was adopted by. And basically, as the series develops, he starts off saying that he's a monster. He's very out of tune with people's emotions and things of that sort. But as the season progresses, each season he starts to become more and more. He feels more and more human and in touch with people. Very different from the series and the books, but it's still a very interesting show.
I like the show.
Yeah,
I like the show. I've heard the same thing, that everyone says the first 4 seasons are the best. I think they say, from what I've heard, everyone says season 4 is the best with John Lithgow as the Trinity Killer. It's all right. I mean, I wouldn't say Dexter's bad. I like the show, but I feel like probably season 1's the best. I love the relationship with him and his brother, and I think every season after that, they're not bad, but they're all on the same playing field. I think they're all consistently a good product, but they're not amazing. I think they're all on the same bar.
My opinion.
So I guess I'll have to see how it ends for me to say anything more than that. But
Yeah, my
I like it.
opinion on season 2, I felt like because that's when they are almost caught Dexter pretty much, when Sergeant Dokes pretty much caught him, I felt like that should have been the climax for season 8, you know? Maybe him getting his downfall. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything with season 8 or my opinions about how I thought it was going to end, which it did not meet any of my assumptions I thought it was going to be, by the way. But I figure season 2, they could have saved that one towards the end.
yeah, I was kind of surprised about that too. I'm like, man, they're like, we're going to get like this much drama, and like only in the second season. Like, how long are you planning on going?
Where are they going to go? That I was wondering the whole time after season 2. I was like, where are they going to go for another 6 seasons after this one?
You watched Chris?
I watched episodes here and there.
What do you think of it from what you've seen?
I liked it. I like to have time to sit and watch a show. My show that I picked was a show that I had time to sit and watch, and I just don't feel like I have enough time to sit and watch and pay attention.
You don't have a show?
No, I do have a show.
What's your show?
My show is Breaking Bad.
Oh, Breaking Bad is
Have not
so
seen it
good.
yet.
Ryan, you are missing out.
One
That
thing
show
I
is
will say
amazing.
is the first season was great. 2 and halfway through 3 kind of took a slouch for me because there was a character, I think it was in 3 he came in, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Yes.
Gustavo?
He makes the show.
Gustavo Fring's one of the fucking coolest characters in television film ever.
Don't get me wrong, the show isn't all about him, and it's a good show without him, but he kind of brought my interest back in it. Maybe it's because I didn't really have time through 2 and 3 to really sit and watch like I wanted to. But I made time. After I saw the first episode with him, I was kind of like, wow, that's an interesting character.
It's fucking good.
It brings you back in, and the show just hit everywhere. It ended at a perfect time. You know, another great show I had, which was one of my favorites. I don't really know that Breaking Bad beat it, but The Sopranos was another great show.
I've heard.
I didn't like the ending of that though.
Very
I hated the ending.
very ambiguous.
It was kind of like, what? You know, Breaking Bad, it was like, boom, that's what happened.
I gotta ask you, what was your reaction watching that season finale? Because I asked my mom, because she was into the show. She literally got up. She started smacking the television. She thought the cable went out or something. She was like, no, what's going on? I need to know. And then the credits came up, and then she was like, what?
Yeah.
And how did you react when you saw it? Did you know
I
it was
cried
coming?
for a good week. No.
Did you know it was coming, or because did you watch it, or did you watch it live?
I watched it live with my parents. This was before Netflix. I watched the season finale at my parents' house. Well, I was still living there. I think I was still in high school for it too. It was like, oh no, you can't say that. You can't say that. I expected
That's not possible.
an end episode after. I figured like maybe a year later, it'd be like, well, this is now the real ending to it. And I kind of would have been disappointed by that just as much because I think that sometimes I wanted closure on it, but other times I'm like, if they're going to end it like that, they needed to just end it like that, and it just had to be done. There wasn't going to be, a second series finale or any of that stuff. It was just, boom, that's what it was. I kind of thank them for that, but...
Watch, 20 years, the 20th anniversary. The new season comes. Like, no!
Yeah, I will. Well, I mean, they can't unless they... I don't know.
Speaking of shows, like I'm starting to think because you know how each generation has like a golden age of something.
Yeah.
Is it like I want to hear your guys' opinions? Because I'm starting to think too. This like last kind of decade with these type of shows. Like, what do you guys think? At the time, it's like the golden age of these type of shows. Because back then, like
I think
reality shows where shows like this were not as dramatic. It used to be more kind of
Well, they get riskier. If you think about what Breaking Bad, because that's the one I know so well. Breaking Bad versus, Breaking Bad wasn't on HBO. The Sopranos was on HBO. They do whatever they want to do.
That was a premium show on a premium channel. Just like
Breaking
Dexter.
Bad,
Dexter also. Dexter was a premium.
Showtime.
Was a premium show on Showtime.
Shows like Sons of Anarchy and which is
Nip
a good
Tuck.
show. I've watched parts of it. Nip Tuck. Those were
pushing the boundaries for basic.
yeah. They
cable.
were doing it. And,
You know what's funny? Little side note. I watched Breaking Bad before I watched Dexter, And it's kind of funny, like we all have the friend who cusses a lot, who swears a lot, and you're like, God, you're so immature. And then you have you have like the older friend who doesn't swear, and like, man, see, that guy's mature. That's kind of how I felt watching Dexter, because Breaking Bad, it's not like they do say the F-bomb every now and then, but they save it, and plus they can't use it because they're on basic cable. But like the tone and the seriousness of that show was like so dark and grimy that like it doesn't matter if they're saying screw you instead of fuck you. It doesn't matter what kind of like
the atmosphere is
what kind of kindergartner potty mouths they're using. And then when I watched Dexter, they're saying fuck every other sentence. I'm like, God, you look like you're like the child in the store who's like fucking nagging. Yeah.
His sister Deborah. Yes.
No, every character. Dogs too.
Well, yeah.
It was weird watching a show where they said fuck. Like after watching all of Breaking Bad, then going to Dexter. Not saying it's bad. Not saying it's bad. It's just I was used to watching a mature show that never swore, and now I'm watching it over here. And not Jesse, because Jesse says bitch all the time.
Dexter kind of had a little bit more of a kind of like humor to it as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it had its obviously it had its grittiness. I mean, it's about a serial killer killing people, but it was very kind of had its light moments too, with some like humor thrown into it. Mm-hmm. A little dry. Well, not too. I don't want to say dry, but like just kind of dark humor.
He's very dry. He's very monotone. Yeah. Some people don't like it. I like it. I like dry humor like that.
Like the dialogue he had with Harry, his stepdad. Every moment, every like segment of every episode when he's talking to Harry about just anything I thought those are the best highlights of the series. Mm-hmm. Personally, to me, at least one of them.
One that stuck out. His conversation with his stepdad was, they're in a pumpkin patch and he's playing around with his sister, and he sits back down with his dad and he says like, Dexter, I'm happy, like you actually look like you're having fun. He's like, I actually fucking hate it here. He's like, my allergies are going crazy and there's fucking dirt everywhere. He's just doing it to blend in so he looks human. I was like, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think Breaking Bad and Dexter, they both had great pilot episodes. Once I saw like the first episode of the first season, I'm like, I'm in. All right, let's do this.
After season 1 of Dexter, I was hooked. I love the twist they had with his brother. Because in all honesty, I personally did not.
I saw it coming. I actually saw it coming. And I usually never predict movies, and I never predict them well. I knew it was coming.
Yeah, that got me excited, and just it made a lot of sense, and it kept me interested and kept me going with the show. Just the suspense with it, and then watching Dexter kind of hit his limits too.
So what you were saying though earlier about do we think that there's a golden age of TV shows right now?
Yeah.
I actually think it's the golden age of a film, period. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's a full-length movie or if it's a show. I think shows are the new thing right now. Mm-hmm. I think people are more excited for television shows than they are for movies. Like, obviously, like movies like The Avengers, they get people really excited. But I think it's mostly the maturity of what kind of content is being shown on basic cable now that's really pushing the head. Like, for me, like, my favorite show probably is Walking Dead. But, like, I don't know how I feel about, like, it's not that I don't like it, but I just don't have a lot of spare time to watch it. I missed out on season 4, and I don't know, I think I'm eventually going to get bored of them just like only surviving. Like, it's obviously a good character study on what they have to go through, but eventually I'm gonna be like, all right, it's the same shit. I'm like, I get it. Like, this is really dark and like this is really depressing. Like, can we find out what happened? Like, why are there zombies? But yeah. I probably won't get my wish, but hopefully Walking Dead stays around for a while still.
What season are they? Because we started the first episode on Netflix of Walking Dead. And
there's 4 seasons. Right, there are 4 seasons in right now. Season 5 will most likely start in October.
Okay. But also, yeah, I'm like about to go into that's like what you said about shows compared to movies. Like you guys kind of nailed it right on the head. But it's pushing boundaries now. Yeah. Like, it's not like holding back or censoring stuff anymore. Things are a lot more dramatic, a lot more riskier, like you mentioned, and grittier. And
if you really think about it, like, I can't believe like Breaking Bad was on basic cable. Like, that show really pushes it. Show's so great.
I could have swore there was a set of boobs on like the first or second episode when he falls out of the window. Didn't she like? I'm gonna have to watch it again.
I don't think so. It'll probably be the unrated Blu-ray collection.
Maybe it was just on the Netflix version. They didn't add it, but they just didn't censor it or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking about starting to watch it because I keep getting a lot of comparisons with the other shows, like The Sopranos too. Like I've heard about that as well. I know that's been around for a while.
That's the only one. I want to get into Sons of Anarchy because everybody's really big into it.
Yeah, that's what everyone keeps telling me too.
Even my parents are really big into it. Me and my mom, we see eye to eye on a lot of things. That's why usually if I am going to see a movie or something, I'll ask her if she saw it, if she knows if she liked it or not, or a show. But Sons of Anarchy, she actually said was even with The Sopranos.
That's pretty.
And if you knew how big we were on The Sopranos, that's saying a lot. So I'm really thinking about starting that instead of like Dexter, just because they didn't watch Dexter, so they don't really know about it.
Yeah.
Spartacus was a good show.
I hear that show has a lot of titties in it.
Yeah.
I might watch it just for that.
It was awesome. You know what I used to watch? I don't even know if it's still a show. I think it's over now. But it was, oh man. Oh.
Basic cable, or was it a premium channel?
No, it was premium. I'm pretty sure it was on, or no, it was basic. It was on FX. It was about the Marshal.
Oh, Justified?
Justified. I got really into that show. I used to be, I have to watch. That's my show. And I kind of fell out of it. Mainly because I lost, my parents' 9 million channels when I moved in with my roommate, and we didn't have cable at all. We barely had internet. So I'd like to try and watch it again, but I don't even know if it's on anymore. I thought it was a good show. I don't know if you guys ever saw it.
I think it just had its series finale recently.
What is it about?
It's this federal marshal that he's like a badass federal marshal, and he gets sent back to his hometown. And his hometown's a real corrupt area, a lot of drugs, a lot of guns, a lot of just bad stuff going on. So he goes there and he starts picking apart everything, gets his head in everything, meets back up with his ex-wife and meets up with the old flame he had, and it's just, you have to watch the show. It was a great show.
He's basically cleaning up the town.
Yeah, it's a great show, and for guys like me, I always wanted to be a federal marshal because when I first saw, it's kind of different. When I first got really big into Wyatt Earp was when I wanted to be a marshal.
Tombstone.
That's
one of the fucking best movies ever.
Yes.
No matter how much cheese is in that movie, I don't give a shit.
It's a great movie. It's full of great actors, and
it's like the Expendables of the West, I say.
And none of it was, well, I don't want to say none of it. His name was Wyatt Earp, but there was a lot of parts of it that weren't true.
Yeah.
About the shootout of OK Corral, and that's all that.
I actually hear that is like one of the most like accurate representations. Like it probably didn't transpire the way it did, but like who shot who and what and where that person was shot at was like completely accurate.
Well, he wasn't the lawman that everybody made him out to be. He actually was borderline, just as dirty as everybody else. He wasn't really an American hero, as much as they portray him to be in that movie.
It was still awesome.
Yeah, it was, and I think that's why I didn't like the movie Wyatt Earp versus Tombstone, just because Tombstone was all action, all in your butt, and the movie Wyatt Earp actually did his whole life, and I mean, he did have a little bit of law enforcement, but I don't know.
From what I heard, like he actually was never any type of law enforcement official before he came to Tombstone. He was just a farmer.
He was I don't know what he was in Dodge City. I think I'm pretty sure he was law enforcement, but he wasn't sheriff or anything like that, but he was
a desk jockey.
Yeah. And I think the difference is he was kind of when he went to Tombstone, I'm pretty sure he was a lawman. I don't remember. Yeah. It's embarrassing that I don't know that just because.
I looked it up once because I know as soon as the movie starts in Tombstone, I forget who is there. Some law officials are there to greet him when he gets off the train. It was
the town marshal and this
yeah,
sheriff.
and they say, will you join the force? And he's like, I told you already. I'm retired. I put that behind me. Apparently, that's not what happened at all. Because from what I heard, from what I've looked up on my own little research, it's when he got to Tombstone, he was just a farmer from somewhere and with no previous experience.
I think it was his brother.
Probably.
It was his brother.
Sam Elliott.
Yeah, what was his name?
I don't know. The oldest the eldest Earp brother.
Earp brother. That's their last name is Earp.
Yeah, the Earps. What was his name? Morgan was the youngest one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then it was shit. What was Sam Elliott's name? I don't know. It wasn't that important. But I'm pretty sure he was a lawman. I think he was actually like federal or something like that. I think he was a federal marshal versus a town marshal. Town marshal was like a city PD. Anyways,
check it out.
Yeah, go check it out. Go look it
It
up.
sounds. Yeah, I probably should. Where can I check it out at?
The internet.
I have it on DVD. Yeah.
Tombstone, if you want to borrow, I'll let you borrow. It's a good movie. But that will bring us on to our next topic of near-death experiences. I'm going to go ahead and start with you, Noonie, on this one because I don't think you've started a topic for us, have you?
I think I do every episode.
I don't give a shit.
No, but no, someone else's topic. I don't think I've ever started. Let's see. I think I've only had one.
That's when somebody did put the toilet seat down and you almost fell in?
No, it's only for women. Only works for women. I think I was in kindergarten or first grade, but I was on a bus being dropped off after school, and we were dropping off one of my friends off of Glendale and 75th. We were dropping him off, so we're in the lane all the way to the right. His house is, we can see it from the stop. He lives on the very corner, so we stop right there in the middle of 70 on the middle of Glendale Avenue. So he gets off the bus, goes to his house, and we're stuck right there. And you know how the bus driver puts out the stop sign, so everyone in the area stops until we're finished doing what we were doing. And there's a car right next to us in the lane to the left. And while my buddy's getting off the bus, walking to his house, a huge fucking semi-trailer comes running through fucking Glendale Avenue. And I don't know if he was in our lane, but I was sitting on the left side of the bus, so I was looking out onto the left lane, and I'm looking at the car next to me. I'm looking at the man sitting there in his car that's stopped because the bus has the stop sign out, and a fucking huge semi-truck with a huge trailer fucking comes, probably going in like 50 miles an hour. But he was definitely going faster than the speed limit on the road we were on. He just fucking runs through, and I'm sitting at the window, and like it's literally like it's fucking like 2 inches away from my face. And he fucking just completely runs over, like he mounted the car, drove over him and continued going, and then swerved and it tumbled over. And then I had no idea what the fuck happened. I for a second forgot about the driver who was in the lane to the left, and I just thought he fucking just sped right through. But when I looked over, like the fucking car that was right next to the bus looked like a fucking soda can that you just compressed together.
Where was the guy?
I don't know. I couldn't see him anymore. Like it was just all completely compressed. He was in there somewhere.
Jesus.
So we fucking dodged the bullet because that bus was full of kids, and I was sitting on the left side just looking out the window, and it just flew right past me. It happened so quick that I thought it just forgot to stop and drove past us.
I wonder if that semi truck is in a hurry for something, or
who knows? Like I don't know where the truck came from. If maybe he was originally in our lane and then fucking swerved over and hit this guy, but. I don't know. I couldn't see the guy. Like he was just compressed inside the cannon.
No.
The fact that like because I was sitting right against the window, I was looking out, and it's just crazy. Like it was literally like 2 inches away from my face. Like it was that close to the bus. So I think that's as close as I've been to death. That's probably as close as I've ever gotten.
That's
I'm
pretty
sure
damn
your heart
close.
was trying to fly out of his chest. I'm sure.
I couldn't process it. I was just a kid. Like, I'm sure everything's okay. Looking back, I'm like, holy crap! Like, I had an angel looking over my shoulder that day.
Or a soldier.
Yeah, I was wondering. Did you ever find out what happened? Like, was it on the news or?
No, and no, I remember it vividly. But as a kid, you don't really understand the concepts of life and death and fucking near-death experiences. So when I got home, I didn't talk about it. I still have the memory vividly to this day. And I think when I told my grandmother or my mom that story, they're like, "You're just a kid. You probably imagine something. You're probably making false memories." But I remember it vividly.
God.
I remember talking to my buddy Matt when he was out, because he was standing outside of his home with everyone else in his neighborhood looking out at the accident, and I jumped on the right side of the bus, and I rolled down the window, and I said, Matt, are you okay? Well, of course he's okay, because he wasn't anywhere involved, but I was like, Matt, you okay? And he was just silent. Like, he was probably like, legitimately shocked, like, after what we saw, but that's as close as I ever got.
It's pretty awful.
Yeah. You said you had one as well?
I have 1 or 2 or 10.
Yeah, you might.
Mine will take a minute. I'm not
I'll say
gonna go
you.
these
Yeah,
long.
I'll say you go because,
I was trying to.
because basically my story ain't shit compared to his.
Okay, no, because I'm trying to think if I even really had a near-death experience. That's the only thing. I mean, I've gotten in a car accident once, but that was it. But it's not like it was life-risking. It was just a bad sideswipe. So I don't really remember ever having a near-death experience with anything.
Anyone close to you that you remember having one?
Well, I mean, besides like my mom or sister being in the hospital, but that's not.
The situation wasn't that bad.
Well, I mean, my
It was
sister
bad,
had
but
salmonella or the bird, whatever it is. when
Oh,
we
the
eat
bird
fried
flu.
chicken. My sister was in the hospital for weeks for that. My mom too, just from.
I'm trying really hard not to say a racist joke right now. Ryan.
Yeah, I'm
but
sure
you're not.
I'm sure you can guess what it was.
Did you guys eat too much fried chicken? Oh,
Yeah, it was Church's chicken.
really?
Yeah,
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow, Church's chicken.
Yeah.
There you have it, people. Don't go to churches anymore.
yeah. I don't think she's gone to that ever since. 'Cause she was pretty young when that happened. Oh, you know what? This is not me personally that had a near-death experience, but man, I'll share this with my sister. We were very young when this happened. It was just me, my sister, and my mom. I don't know where we were because we were probably like 5 or 6 years old. I was probably 5 or 6, and so this was probably 3 or 4. My mom picked us up, one of us up. I was already in the back seat of the car. I was fine. My mom was in the driver's seat, and I guess my sister was not in the car yet, but she was going to walk behind the car to get into the back seat on the other side. Apparently, my mom wasn't aware. She assumed my sister was in the car, so she already started backing up and hit my sister.
Oh, gosh.
And my sister was literally already underneath the tire, on the rear tire on the left side. And we just hear this screeching and screaming in the back, and my mom didn't know what it was. Turned out, like I said, my sister was underneath the car getting rolled over by
Oh,
the
gosh.
car.
How did you get her out? Did you just go
Well,
forward?
my
or
mom
did you pull her
stopped.
out?
Yeah, I think my mom. I was too young to remember. I couldn't I didn't understand the concept of it. I just remember, I didn't think it was as serious as it sounds now because we were
Yeah.
young. But and nothing bad against my mom about it, of course, because obviously she couldn't see her; she was too small. But I think, like speaking for my sister,
If you-
obviously she would have been
but
crushed.
on the same time, like if you're driving somewhere with your kids and one of your kids isn't in the car yet, come on.
Yeah, we think about
I'm
that
just
too.
teasing. I'm just teasing. I'm teasing. That was probably a horrible experience.
When you have little kids, you'll know. I don't know. I would think the same thing.
I hear you lose your marbles though once you become a parent. Because kids are just too much.
I don't, like I said, I couldn't understand the concept. I was young myself, but maybe she assumed that I had no idea what was going through my
I had
mom's.
my foot run over. It was fucking Darian. Darian ran over my foot.
That's happened to me too.
And I yelled at him like, Darian, you're on my foot. And like he's like, oh, and he pulled forward or backward and my foot came out, but my foot was underneath the fucking tire as I was having the conversation with him. Like, Darian, your truck's on my foot.
That's fantastic.
That happened to me. Renell did that to me,
Oh,
actually.
my God.
That reminds me, because his car, he rolled over. He was like, did the tire was sitting on your foot, or did they like go completely over it? Was he just sitting on it?
Like I forgot what I was doing. I was either getting something out of the back seat, and I said, all right, see ya, bud. Close the door or something, but he started driving away. Oh, no. I don't remember, but basically, he drove the car, then stopped the car. So my foot was literally in the center, underneath the tire. I'm like, Darian, this fucking truck's on my foot. He's like, and I think he opened up the door or rolled down the window, looked out, like, oh shit, I'm sorry. And like,
Move!
yeah, he moved, but basically the conversation happened while my foot was underneath the tire. And I was barefoot too.
Oh my god!
I think it was after we got done with practice because I took my running shoes off and was going to switch to another pair of shoes. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, I was barefoot. I was barefoot when it happened.
That's
why you have
strong
fat
ass
feet
foot. But yeah, Renell did that to me outside of his house at Royal Ranch. But except for he rolled clean over and I had shoes on. But the same thing happened to me. I'm just surprised. The car is a 2,000. What? How heavy is this truck? Probably 3,000, 4,000 pounds.
I have no idea.
How the hell did it not crush your foot? And especially so lucky.
Probably
I'm just
because
so
it
glad.
just rolled. If it dropped, you would have been in fucking serious trouble. But
Well, yeah, but I remember just wondering how the hell did my foot not at least be fractured or something, having a 2,000-pound car rolling right over it.
you know, I've never
Wearing
broken
Vans.
a bone. Never broken a bone.
That's weird.
I have a question on that. I mean, I know we're still on the topic, but do you consider a fracture a break? Because I
Technically is a break.
Well, I get, yeah.
Because it has the probability of breaking again and
I
refracturing.
fractured my wrist, but I've never said I've broken a bone either.
I think a break is more of if it breaks all the way through. And a fracture is just like, you can fracture, like I fractured...
wrist?
I fractured my kneecap, but it didn't break it. Because it only went so far or something. I don't know. It
I got you.
probably went all the way through, but...
Who knows then? If that's the case, then who knows how many fractures I may have had. But
I mean, I
I've
have
never
one where I
broken
had
a
to
bone.
work.
You probably got a small fracture, but you just didn't notice it because, especially in your foot, you know, there's a bunch of little bones in there. You're not gonna notice it.
Yeah,
And if
apparently
you
it
do-
only takes 12 pounds of pressure to break a bone in your foot.
Yeah, if I've broken my feet a couple of times, both of them. Yeah, so I dropped bowling balls on them. People have driven over them. I'm an accident-prone kid, and that's, you know, from when I was really little, it was my illnesses that always get me because I always get really sick as a baby. I used to, you know, especially my uncle always brings this up when I started seizing on his couch. My eyes rolled up in the back of my head. I'm still a newborn at this point.
That happened to me too.
Interesting point. This completely blew over my head because I don't remember it. When I was a newborn, also I had really bad asthma. Apparently, I almost died like 3 times. They had to incubate me, put a fucking catheter in my dick and my throat.
Be proud because you got to have a little bit of a dick to get that in there. I don't know if you've
Thanks,
ever had
man.
a catheter, but yeah.
Yeah, and bro, and I was a newborn. That's how much dick I had. So I had one in there, had one in my fucking throat. I was in the fucking Michael Jackson sleeping tent. So apparently, I almost died. I almost died 3 times of asthma as an infant, but I don't remember it at all. Something my mom tells me, so I couldn't tell those stories. But
Same here. I had same here. I used to have seizures when I was a newborn. I didn't come home from the hospital right away.
that's scary. Being a fucking parent and your baby's fucking seizing.
That's
probably
first
the scariest
kid.
shit.
Well, it's bad because when they seize, like mine were febrile seizures, so I was having a fever while I was seizing. So you can't get me to cool down, and you can't get me to stop seizing. You're fucked because your kid, you know, I could have had more problems with me than just being an idiot. Other than that, I could have had a lot of different things wrong with me, and I actually got out of that pretty lucky. But I can only imagine, you know, a kid laying on the couch and all of a sudden just like, you know, starts drooling maybe and eyes just roll back. And that would scare the shit out of me. I'd be calling an exorcist.
But I know you.
Let's get to the nitty gritty. All right,
nitty
let's
gritty.
let's drop it, Chris.
Believe it or not, it's not all accidents. There was one time we were in Mexico. I forget how old I was. Me and my sister were playing around in the ocean. I don't know if you've been to Mexico.
No.
I don't know if you've been to Mexico, but they don't have lifeguards and stuff. They
don't even fucking have electricity.
They really don't. They
don't have computers.
They don't have lifeguards, so if you go out in the ocean, you're pretty much your own. Well, my sister and I got caught in a riptide. You know what a riptide is? It kind of just pulls you out, pulls you further and further out. Well, that's what happened to us. Well, all I could think about is I knew how to swim. I love swimming, so that was my thing. And I know when you swim with the current or something to get back in. You have to swim at a diagonal to get back in. Because if you go straight forward, it's just going to keep pulling you back. But if you go kind of diagonal, it lets you in because you're like right as the waves are breaking, you're sailing over it.
Right.
It's kind of like surfers. So I was doing that, and I got like back on ground with my sister. I'm pulling my sister in. I'm back on ground. I'm starting to walk in. I see my parents are still out there because they saw us and they came out to get us. So they're out there, and I'm just sitting on the beach, and all I could think about was like, it's over, man.
For them?
I thought it was over because I didn't know if they were coming back in. Thankfully, both my parents are very strong swimmers, and they were able to come back in. But
Fuck yeah, your dad's a strong swimmer. He was the fucking sperm that got through.
Yeah, they came out there fast for us, and we all made it obviously. And that was one near-death experience. And then I've had multiple accidents where I joke with this kid because I break things all the time. I'm a very clumsy kid. I was awful for my parents because was getting into shit. I was sick. I was doing this. I'd fall off of stuff, hit my head on things.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm sure I had a lot more near-death experiences, but the accident, because he brought up this, and I don't know what he said, a mountain lion came and attacked me or something, and I fought it off, or... Anyways.
While I was rock climbing.
Yeah, while I was rock climbing.
Cable snapped, he fell, cougar came, he fought it.
Yeah. No, there was an accident, it was my senior year, second semester, my senior year, and it was right before I was about to graduate. We had just gotten off of spring break. It was the day before we went back to school, and I went out with my buddy, and I kind of knew I shouldn't have gone out with this guy because they were doing construction by my house.
Yeah.
And he picked me up after work, and when he swung around to flip a bitch, he almost hit like 4 of the signs, like just douching around. He almost hit all of these signs. I kind of figured...
That was the first sign.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't be hanging out with this kid. Well, long story short, I guess, because I don't remember, this is all hearsay, this is what I've been told is what happened. He was swerving on off the road in between Reams and I think Litchfield on Olive, where the railroad tracks and the I don't know if they still have the big wooden posts out there for electrical posts.
Mm-hmm.
He was swerving around those, dodging those because he thought it was funny. Well, the back end slid around, he broke loose, he slid across the road, and they were doing maintenance on the railroad tracks. And to do that, they put more rocks underneath the rocks that are there to hold the track up.
Yeah.
So they had all those mounds out there. Well, he clipped the mound and rolled it a couple times, and the car caved in on us. And, yeah, I like to say, what, I didn't even know if that was a near-death experience because I didn't even know I was about to die. I don't remember it. I remember him swerving to miss those signs, and then we waking up in the hospital. My parents, and I asked them what happened. They said that I was in a car accident. I was really upset because all I could think is my Suburban was gone. They're really bitching Suburban. I'm like, oh man, it's gone. And they told me no, and they explained to me what happened. The doctor told me that I probably remember it. Because they said I was conscious for a little bit because I was trying to move around or something, or I was yelling when I was in the car.
Yeah.
So I was conscious for it. I probably do remember it, but as a self-defense, my mind doesn't want to remember it, so the mind puts it so far back in there. So, I have dreams about it every once in a while. I guess it's kind of a near-death experience because I still have dreams about it. I still dream about that and think about it.
Got that PTSD.
Oh, yeah. And, I wish I could say that was the first and only head injury I've had. I've had so many that it's just like...
Yeah, 2 today that I've seen you have.
Yeah.
You just live life on the edge. You live La Vida Loca.
Yeah. My whole life is a near-death experience, so...
Well, we're glad we still have you with us.
I'm glad to still be here.
So, that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
To change gears, though, this is for our friend Renee, who only cared about one of our episodes, and unfortunately... As you guys have probably experienced if you're watching religiously with our show, episode 1 had some audio difficulties with it. So, not to rehash previous episodes, but I want to make it a segment. I'm going to call it a campfire segment, where we tell a little ghost story. And I know Ryan's chock full of them, and Ryan's got a deep fear of ghosts, so much that I always tell him one day, like when he has his own house, and he tells me to house sit for him, or if I get into his house and he's not there, I'm going to put hydraulics on his cabinets so he thinks he has a poltergeist because that shit scares him more than anything.
And that would be funny.
It'd be hilarious. I'd put cameras up, record that shit.
Yeah, until I'll probably die from a heart attack.
Have you heard of the show, Ryan?
Near-death experience.
Have you heard of the show Scare Tactics?
No, no, I haven't.
You haven't?
No.
It's basically where a group of friends get together and they go to the Sci-Fi Channel. That's where the show's from. Yeah. And they put their friend up for to be a victim of the show. So it's the guys from Sci-Fi, and they go all out. They have the Sci-Fi costume and makeup and everything you need to trick someone. It's basically Punked, but with paranormal. So for me, if someone tells me that there's a fucking gray alien in my backyard, I'm going to shit my fucking pants. I'm going to lose Grays scare me more than anything. And I know for you, I already know what I would do if you were on the show to be pranked. It would to make a poltergeist inside the house with fucking electronics and hydraulics and shit in the cabinets, because I know that'll freak you out.
Yeah, I've actually, my fears kind of gone down a bit because I couldn't even hear about ghost stories at all. I end up having a panic attack later if I hear about them. But
I heard you heard a good one recently.
Well, I read about it earlier. Yeah, It was Bloody Mary though. So
All right, so tell the story.
Yeah, I'll start this off. So this guy, of course, he's living with his wife. They have a house. She has a house. She claimed that she did this Bloody Mary. She did.
They have a house together, or they're
both?
both?
No, together.
Okay.
So she did Bloody Mary on her own. She told him about it, and of course, this guy, he's very skeptic about it. He thought it was bullshit, and so he just thought it was stupid. She freaked out about it. She did it in her own bathroom. And this guy was tired of the BS about this Bloody Mary. I guess he got up in the middle of the night to get something out of the fridge, just went into the kitchen. And I think he did it too, but nothing happened. But no, he kept screaming Bloody Mary over and over and over again, like way more than 3 times, like several times, maybe 10, 20 times. And he's just like, this is bullshit. Like, I don't think this is stupid.
Wait, he heard his wife saying Bloody Mary?
Well, she did it, and I guess whatever happened with her freaked her out.
Okay.
And so he was just walking around the house at night, just saying it out loud.
Oh, he was saying it out loud.
Yeah, he was saying it out loud multiple times to himself, just just joking, saying this is stupid. And I guess all of a sudden he turned around and he saw this lady sitting in the chair with her head down, like with long black hair, with her head down, just crying at the table. And he's like, "Who the fuck are you? What are you doing in our house?"
My wife's blonde. Who the fuck is this?
Yeah. And then she looked up and started laughing like hysterically, and she had black eyes and like these like red tears coming down. And then I guess
he took his clothes off and said, "This is how my favorite porno starts."
Yeah. If he did that, though, the thing is, he freaked the fuck out and he told his wife and they left. And he's like, "We're getting the fuck out of here," and they're gone. So I mean, that's what I've read earlier, and I have another one, and it's another Bloody Mary story, but I mean,
go ahead.
Okay, so
story number 2.
Yeah, story number 2. This girl, she's saying back in her past, she was probably like 12 years old. She was like sixth grade or something. She said, so her friends dared her to do it, and when she finally, after getting pushed to doing it, they were like kidding. Like when she actually was really going to do it, they're like, "No, don't do it." But she did. So she went to the bathroom. She turned off the lights, of course. You know how it goes. You turn on the candle. You close the door.
Say it 3 times.
You say it through, like spinning around. And then she said when she did it, nothing happened at first. But what happened is within a minute later, the shower curtain opened up on its own. She felt the cold chill, when you feel the presence of a ghost. Then she saw her, and finally saw her in the mirror, and she had black eyes and this red blood coming out of her eyes too. And then she had her hands out in front of her, like she was gonna grab the little girl coming out of the mirror. And of course, the girl was freaking out. She was describing everything. Like she felt hot, she was sweating, she said her heart felt like it was gonna explode. She ended up falling on the ground because she lost the feeling in her legs. And then, in Bloody Mary, wherever it was, she saw in the mirror, pulled her arms back and put her finger over her lips, like they say, like the shush. And then she just disappeared. And that, I've never done Bloody Mary. I've
thought about it before. I'm like, fuck you, I got Jesus, take that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fuck with that.
I don't want to, every time I'm about to do it, I always think to myself, fuck you, I got Jesus. Every time I'm about to do it, I'm like, no, fuck this, nope.
Never mind, I'm pussy, whatever.
I'll do it at someone else's house, not my house.
Honestly, I didn't know you had to do a candle, because when I thought about it, because I learned about the candle thing today, I thought you just do it in the dark.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, but apparently you do it with the candle. And I guess there's another way of calling her out is saying, because if the story behind her is she was pregnant and she was going to have a baby, but apparently she had all the symptoms of a pregnant woman, even had the bulge and everything, but apparently it just disappeared. So basically they say she had a ghost baby. So if you want to taunt Bloody Mary, instead of saying Bloody Mary, it's like, Bloody Mary, I have your baby. And that's another way to taunt her to come out.
Can you imagine if when he said that, the fucking camcorder just fell over or something?
I'd leave. I'd say it's cool.
I'm going to go to Buffalo Wild Wings now.
I'm out of here. But yeah, that's
like that product placement.
Yeah, that's the stories I have with that. So that I've learned about today.
I did read these threads. I forgot what the title was. I think it was creepy conversations that your children have. But basically, after I read that shit, I fucking came to the conclusion, my children are never having an imaginary friend. I don't give a shit.
What the fuck happened?
There's I forget, there's a whole bunch of stories, but there's one that stuck out in my mind. It's this child playing in his room. He's completely alone, and the parents know he has an imaginary friend. And, or maybe they don't. I can't remember. But, basically, the mom's listening to her son play and have fun, kind of relishing, oh my god, I'm a parent. This is I made this kid. This trying to like having one of those like true feelings of ecstasy, like man, you're just so happy with your life. Then she and she's listening in, watching her child play, and like the child doesn't know she's there. She's kind of like positioned in the right angles because the door's slightly closed, so she can see him, but she can't see him. She can see the child, but the child can't see her.
Right.
And then she starts listening to an interesting conversation, and the kid's like 4 years old or 5, and he says something along the lines like, "No, I can't kill him. No, he's my only father. He's my only dad." And like he just goes on and on like this. There's something telling him that he doesn't like. Well, I like my dad. Well, I don't care if you don't like my dad. He's my dad. That's fucking kind of like
that's I would question that.
Like right then and there, I'm like, who are you talking to? I'm like,
where you at, you little bitch?
I'm like, Jimmy. I'm like, Jimmy's not allowed in this fucking house. You're not allowed. Like after that, my child is not allowed to have an imaginary friend,
especially not Jimmy.
The other one, this is not as scary as that one is, or creepy as this one is. Take it how you will, but like it's not malicious. There's this house that man and wife live in. With their child, and it's 3 generations, I believe. Like, his dad before him lived in there, and his grandpa lived in there originally. He was the original homeowner. They, obviously, the dad's grandfather died, passed away. So now his son is going around describing this man who looks exactly like his grandpa, but they never met. The dad's grandfather died before his child was born, and like he told, like I don't know, this is the way like it kind of sets up creepily. He tells the story like how someone in his room sits in the rocking chair, and cries, and he asks the man, "Why are you crying?" He's like, "Because like and he says like, "Because I love you," something like that. And he tells the story to his parents, and they kind of like that's kind of making them a little uneasy. And they ask him to describe the man, and like he does, and like he kind of describes him generically. So they're like, that's weird, like that's I don't know what to make of that. And then one day they're pulling out old family photos, and it's the dad with his grandfather. There's a picture of them together, and he points to him and like, "That's the man who sits in my rocking chair."
Wow.
That's weird.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Reminds me of another story I read earlier. I was about to say what you were describing, how you first started off and see a bunch in the rocking chair. I read a story about that earlier. The same thing about a kid seeing his dad's dead grandfather before he was born, or at least when he was like a newborn or something like that. And he used to see him walking around like outside of their house and things of that sort. I thought you were about to say the same story, but that's creepier than what I read. Yeah, did you...
You got any creepy ghost stories you know of?
No.
I'm just glad none personal either. Well, I mean, I've had, believe it or not, as terrified as, obviously, because like before, like when we were in high school, I couldn't even talk about this stuff. I couldn't. I just can't. Like I would leave.
Yeah, he could not watch.
I couldn't be in the same room. I still won't watch it. But anyways,
we should take him to that house I was telling you about.
We were thinking about taking this podcast to a live, or like taking it live. To like an abandoned warehouse.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of abandoned warehouses, I got a lot of this because I've kind of pushed myself to get out of my fear. Like it's limited, but I'm comfortable enough to talk about them now. So, what is it called? Ouija board?
I don't fuck with that shit.
Okay, no, but hear me out. Hear me out because I've seen videos of it. I watched videos of it on YouTube, and it's interesting. You gotta admit it's interesting. And coming from me.
You know what else is interesting? Crystal meth.
I'm not gonna do it. Obviously, there's no fucking way I'm gonna do that.
I watched Breaking Bad, but I'm not doing crystal meth.
But anyways, I watched a video of these guys. Okay, what is his name? Oh, I'm probably not gonna be able to sleep tonight if I remember his name. I can't remember this guy's name.
Is he a living person?
No, it's a ghost, a spirit.
Okay.
Okay. Jojo is the ghost.
Sounds like someone from Bunny.
He's not. It's like they played a Ouija board, and I remember they're sitting in the living room on the floor, and you know how it works. Like you're talking to the ghost, how you communicate. They ask what his name is, and then they started taunting this ghost. And the girl, like she was playing jokes with them because they was responding back. But like she started laughing and joking with this ghost, and all of a sudden she started laughing hysterically, like she got possessed, and like she started having a seizure and laughing. Next, she's on the floor shaking. If you watch the video on YouTube, it was freaky. Like, I cannot get her laugh out of my head. Like, to this day, I watched this 2 years ago, and I cannot get that out of my head. How she was just laughing casually with her friends. Next thing you know, she's just like, everyone stopped laughing, and she just starts going crazy.
Was she laughing as if she was possessed? Or?
Yes, and like she started shaking, and then she like fell back on her back on the floor and just started laughing like the Joker, like victimized her or something.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But he's known as Evil Clown, and I forget what he does to you. But if you taunt him or try to introduce him to anything, basically he'll possess you. And there's like ghost hunters or something like that, or people try to communicate with him. This guy, like, once you communicate with him, like, he's gonna haunt you for a long time, because this guy's shown that he had scratches on his back and all this crazy shit about it.
See, one thing I would never do is I'll never mess with the Ouija board. Like, I've always talked about doing investigations or
like ghost hunter investigations.
Yeah, like I would love to fucking like if ghost hunters did like this sort of contest where they like bring a fan in, like the winner gets to do a study with them or something, or goes on site with them, I would jump at that shit. But I would never fucking use a Ouija board. My nana was telling me she had one as a kid.
Jesus. I wouldn't even want to be in the same room with one of those goddamn
Exactly.
kids.
She used to play with it.
Really?
And after like she started playing with it, like weird stuff started happening around in the house. Like doors were opening and closing by themselves. She said that she would leave her room. Like she had, you know, she was a little girl with dolls growing up. Oh. She said when she would leave, she would come back to her room, and like some of the dolls would be like in different positions. Like it wasn't how she left it, and like and she said no one else was going in there moving stuff or anything like that. So, and then something pulled her hair too, and like she turned around, and no one was behind her. So she said she threw away the Ouija board. Like she like immediately like, grabbed it, threw it in the trash, and then like it all started to stop. So.
Did she throw it like in the trash can and like into the dumpster, or just in her trash can in the house?
Okay,
I was like,
in the neighbor's trash can.
Yeah, in the neighbor's trash can.
Oh, that's kind of fucked up. Like,
but,
can you imagine?
But I would never play with the Ouija board. Like, I mean, it's too scary. I'll probably try to get an EVP recorder and like try to communicate, but I don't know what it is. The fucking board, I guess.
I think that pisses them off.
What, the recorder?
No.
The board?
Ouija board, yeah.
Yeah, that because like all the videos I watched of it, they kind of get aggravated because
it's probably because it's more like a joke to them. Like I don't know.
It's kind of a gag at this.
You're
point.
Just messing around
because you're doing it for kicks and giggles.
Yeah, and you know like the thing with it, when I watch some videos of it, most of the time like they're really like slow and pacey. Like when the ghost like answers, he kind of takes its time. But with like JoJo, the thing is going crazy. Like when he does it. Like I said, just look up the video, like just watch a video of it or something. Like you don't see anything, but obviously it's just a board. But like when they put their hands on it, like it's just like going like fucking buck wild on the fucking board. And these kids used to go in a warehouse and sit in a warehouse and do it too, like an abandoned shed, and asking the ghost questions and said, if you're here, like knock on the wall or something for us, and obviously it would knock on the wall. Of course, it's on. I mean, believe what you want if it's on a video, but obviously I'm not going to do it for myself.
When I went to California last year, I was up there for August, and like near the end of August, and they started doing the Not Scary Farm. It's kind of like Fear Farm, but yeah. If you know Not Scary Farm, it's a theme park. It's basically the two mesh together. It's a theme park with all the people there working in costume, and oh my god, it was awesome. But I was telling my bartender at the hotel that that's where we were going, and then he, like, because we're on the subject, he then told me a ghost story that was kind of creepy. Like, I don't know what it is about dolls, but dolls just creep me out.
Dolls are weird.
He said he would when he would go visit his Thea's house, he had his own room that he would sleep in, like the guest room. And there's a doll in it, sitting on top of a shelf, on top of the bed. And he said, like, at night, like, he could hear, like, something running around, like someone little running around in the room, and it's pitch black. And he would get scared. He would, like, put pull the blanket over his head. And he said the doll fell on him. And it didn't just fall, like, on him, like, it just fell off the shelf. Like, it fell in the perfect position. It fell on him.
Like, sitting up?
Sitting up. Looking at him, so like if he took the blankets off, it would be sitting cowgirl on him with the doll looking at him, and it scared the shit out of him. and he
Where the
and
fuck
he
was
put-
this at?
I don't know. It was at some house that his Thea lived in, I'm pretty sure, and he was a guest there. And he said, like, at first he didn't think much of it. Like, he's like, I'm not gonna freak myself out over this. So he takes the doll and he puts it back on the shelf, which is right on top of the bed. And then he starts hearing like laughter. He starts hearing something laugh, and it fucking falls again. But this time it lands at his feet, and try to imagine this, like the doll's like above his head, up against the wall. And like the first time it falls like at his waist, and it's sitting perfectly there. Next time it falls at his feet, same position. And like that's the part that kind of makes it a little interesting, because it falls.
It
at
was
the same-
interesting when it's just sitting on his. Like, I'd freak out just from hearing the footsteps.
And he
Like,
said after that he never goes back in that room, and he won't sleep there. He slept in the living room.
I would never sleep with the lights on. Because me, like, if that happened, I would just, like, I immediately turn the lights on or something. Like, I wouldn't even fucking put
I'd
up
put
with
the doll outside.
that too, or just, that's pretty creepy. Like, I'm not, that's pretty creepy. Because at first I thought you were describing like the doll was running around on the floor or something.
Yeah, that's what I would. That's the first thing I
Like,
thought.
like
when
it's
he
a
started
Chucky
telling the
doll
story.
or some shit.
That's the first thing I thought when he started telling the story. No, the doll was still sitting on the top of the shelf, but he heard footsteps. He couldn't see anything, but he heard them. That's a creepy story, but that brings us to the end of our new segment, the campfire segment. Matthew, I hope you enjoyed it. We did it just for you.
Hey, Massey, one more thing I have to do.
Yeah, and hopefully you enjoy sleeping with the lights on tonight. So, once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on another episode of podcast. I am Anthony Nunez. I'm once again joined with my co-host, Chris, I can't see where my leg is, Trejo. And I'm joined with my best friend, Ryan. I'm glad I had you on a vest, Ryan Littman. Thanks for coming.
So, yeah.